Well, hi, my name is Angel Del Solar, and I'm an entrepreneur in the beauty industry.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Beauty Means Business Radio, brought to you by Handsome App. We have a super talented and inspiring guest with us today. Angel Del Solar is an educator, hairstylist, and entrepreneur in the beauty industry. Angel has an extensive and impressive career spanning from educator to product owner and so many more things. So we're super excited to talk to you today and dive into your journey. Welcome to the show, Angel.
Thank you, Nikki and April, for having me over. It's really a pleasure to be here. Appreciate it.
We have had the opportunity to speak with you a couple of times. We were introduced to you a couple weeks ago, and during that call, April and I were just really blown away by your experience and who you are. And just so you can give our audience knows who we're talking to, we would love to hear from you in your words who you are in the beauty industry.
All right, Nikki. So I get to shine my medals now. Is that what's going on?
Yes, shine those medals.
Well, anyhow, very proud to have been on the profession for many, many years. Actually, I started up doing hair when I was 15 years old. My mother was a clothing designer, and I want to become a clothing designer as well. And I told my mom, say, what I need to do, how can I get going with that? Because she was doing costume tailored dresses at home, and mostly like wedding dresses. And I thought, well, let's just talk to her about it. And then she said, well, Angel, you don't want to do this. What you want to do is you want to do hair, because when you're done with the hair, with the clients, you go home and it's over. When you do clothes, you never got to go home. So my mother said, I'm going to do what my mother said. But at the end of the day, I was thinking on the back of my mind, well, first I'm going to do hair, then I'm going to do makeup, and then I'm going to do the clothes. So I'll be on the runway, and I'll be the guy managing the whole thing, no? So that was my whole beginning, no? My mother put me.
I feel like that's what every beauty professional thinks going through school is that I'm going to run the Victoria's Secret fashion show. I'm going to do the hair. I'm going to design the swimsuits. I'm going to do the makeup, and I'm going to choose the music. And you're like, oh, what's
so Nicole, so you thought it too. Okay, I see. Well, anyhow, I was 15. Obviously, you dream a lot. I was living in Spain at the time. And, our profession is very well regarded in Spain. Being a hairstylist is a good thing. Being a chef is a really cool thing as well, too. So I was 15 years old. I went to work on a salon as an assistant and an apprentice before I even went to school, because in Spain, you didn't have to have a license at the time. So I did it for 6 months when I was going to high school on the nights and then doing that during the day. And after 6 months, I thought, okay, I really can do this. I feel like, I got some good enough skill to do this, and I have passion. I was really good at drawing. So I started, I went to beauty school. And 2 years later, I finished beauty school, did really great. Got to go after that to the military in Spain. It was mandatory for a year. So when I was in the military, I got to be a barber there. And then I came back after that and a couple of things that I did. Back to Spain, to Zaragoza, and went to work for Luis Romero, which is most likely one of the most famous hairstylists in Spain, if he's not one of the two top most famous hairstylists in Spain. He's the president of Intercoiffure in Spain. He was the art director at Revlon in Europe when I started up, and he actually was the first. Was the person who brought Pivot Point into Spain. So he owns the franchise for Pivot Point in Spain. So
I have a question. I have a question on that before you dive in further. How did you even find him? How does one fall into working for him? I feel like that's a pretty big deal.
It's a pretty big deal, and I'm glad you asked that. That's a great question, April. So what happened is, I think, and I teach that when I teach people on beauty schools, I think you have to craft your own path. I had this whole thing, that is living by design. I like to talk about living by design versus living by default. People live by default; they don't know where they're going. They just show up and hope that good things are going to happen. So when I went back from Spain, I was living on the Canary Islands for 3 years, and I moved back to the main island, the main territory in Spain, in Zaragoza. That was the most famous hairstylist. So imagine Nostrums here, no? So it was the guy who has the salon inside of Nostrums. So I thought, I want to work at that salon. That's the best salon in the city. So I want to interview the guy. I want to work for you. He was very impressed with my attitude, and I went and took some courses from them. So I went to get some classes that they were doing, so they could get to meet me and see my energy and my work ethics and my talent. And then they give me an opportunity. Now, as you asked that too as well, when I moved to the United States, I went straight from Spain to live in Seattle, and I went to work for Jean Juarez, which at that time, the salon in Bellevue and Jean Juarez was the #1 salon in the country. And I straight up came over from Spain to work for them because I choose to do that. I went on an interview with them, I went through their training, and I got the people from People Point, highly regard talking about me coming in. So I got an opportunity. I only worked for 2 salons of my life. They were both the best salons of the city.
So I would say, just based off of that alone, Angel, you clearly you're a visionary. I love that you said you craft your own path, and so every goal that you've set for yourself has been an ambitious goal. That it's not been a mediocre goal. You're looking at, I want to go work at the top notch, learn from the very best so I can be the very best.
Yeah, you're right. I think you're as good as you've been taught. So if you surround yourself with better people than you want to be, at a certain level, at my level right now, I want to be the second smartest person on the table. I still don't want to be the #1. I want to be the #2. But at the beginning, I didn't care. I just want to be surrounded with people who were way better. And it was easy to find those people because there was so many people who were way better than me at that point. So that was my beginning. So very lucky, right place, right time, learn from some of the best people. I was living in Spain until I was 24, and I did the assistant, the apprentice. I did and that's in Spain is 3 years. Okay, being an assistant in Spain, an apprentice is not like you're blow drying hair for years. Your knuckles are bleeding because you shampoo so many people's hair. It's crazy. People don't even make it through. But I went through all of that. Then I became an educator for People Point. First educator for People Point in Spain for first year and second year. So for 2 years I did that. Some of the kids that I trained, they are really famous, stylists right now in Spain. They have their own product lines, some of them. So I was very fortunate to train really great people. And then I got to train all the educators that they were getting, the franchises on different cities in Spain. Mm-hmm. Because I did that when I moved to the United States. Leo Passage at the time asked me to do some international education. So I opened Argentina for them. When I was in Spain, I helped out open Portugal and Russia as well too. So I got to have these opportunities to work internationally for People Point. And I still have great relationship with People Point and Robert there. And I continue to support them because I think they're a fantastic company.
I have a question about all of this. I think it's so interesting because on how you have such a unique perspective, and honestly, the only perspective of anyone that we've had on this show so far in having started your career in another country and then coming to the US. And one of the things that you said at the beginning, which I thought was really interesting that I wanted to dive into, was that our profession is really well regarded in Spain. Mm-hmm. And so I'm very, I'd like to hear more about what does that mean when you came to the US? Do you feel like there is a difference in how the profession is regarded in the US? And have you, I'll start with that question.
Yeah, well, it's 2 things to that. I think, some of that at the beginning, yes. Obviously, the TV shows and all that help out with some of that. And I think people regard well the professionals. I think sometimes, maybe the people who access to the profession are not all of them, that dedicated. So that's why a lot of people drop after going into beauty school, or even they don't make it through the profession because they didn't do it for the right reasons. Yeah. In Spain, is so much competition and unemployment. It's about 20% unemployment most all the time. So you gotta be so good at whatever you do to even have a chance to crack and actually make a career out of it. So you'll see people in Spain that they're really good at, Formula One, and they're really good at tennis, and they're really good at one person, the one that it cracks it in because they had to go through so many hoops to get to be that person. In fact, when I came over to work here and I was going through the advanced training for Jean Juarez, which it took about 6 months training. And then 2.5 in, I was done with the training. Jean Juarez himself had to come to my audition to see how in the heck somebody went through our training that fast. And the guy, who was running the thing, Luis at the time, said, well, this guy can blow dry better than anybody in the whole company. I could blow dry hair better than anybody. And this is, we're talking about late 90s when, blow drying was becoming a thing. But I already came over to blow dry because in Spain, 80% of the time, what I was doing behind the chair was blow drying people's hair because everybody came to get a blow dry every single, week. Yeah. It was blowouts, it was blow drying. So anyhow, saying that with your question, April, is like, I think, professional work regardless here, but, not all of them get through. And I think it's different these days because when I went to beauty school, I was just talking with Luis Romero. I went to visit him last summer, and he told me, Uncle, the difference right now with education is when you came to become a stylist, it was only so many professions for people of your age. Right now, it's like 10 times more, and mostly all of them, they are on the computer business. And the younger generation are taking those careers. They are not going to beauty school as much. So it's going to be a shortage of professionals here, I think, within 10 or 15 years. Because people are not going to get work trained. And then other things that we haven't talked about, but we can talk about the future, is how people are getting trained, who they are getting trained by. A lot of salons, the professional salons are disappearing, a lot of commission salons are disappearing. So if you're on your own, it's very complicated and big changes for different things. But anyhow, that was my beginnings in Spain. But when I came over to the United States, I think something relevant to say here is, I own the records of Gio Juarez to really become an excel, hairstylist. And I like to talk to people about this on my presentations because it's all about building your clientele, building your dream clientele. So I came over 2750 a haircut at that time. This is 97, I think it was 97. So I was charging 2750. Within a year and a half, I was charging $75. And within 3 years, I was charging $100. So on 2020, 20 years ago, I was charging $100 for a haircut.
Wow.
I was getting 25 to 50 new requests every single month for 3 years.
So I want to back up just a little bit, because I feel like we've covered so much of your career and what you've been doing. And just for our listeners out there, right now it's just a really difficult time, but and this is touching on a couple points that you had made, that a lot of younger people are not going into the industry as much as they were before. Before there was an abundance of people going into beauty school. Now there are so many different career options and you can move quicker within them, all the way to, just of what we're dealing with COVID. And so I'd really love to get your insight and experience for this younger generation of professionals that are up and coming, that are going to school, that are wanting to be in this industry and wanting to be in this career. What do you think is the biggest challenge for people right now that are going into the industry? I know you just said something about that there's not as many, really large salons that are leading these education movements, or you don't have like the Vidal Sassoon movement and way of doing things and, X, Y, and Z. It's very boutique, very independent, very tailored now. So it's definitely shifted. Yeah. But what do you think is the biggest challenges for all of the professionals that are out there right now?
Well, let me say something else just to tie it up what we were talking about before. I think, I believe, that you only can talk about something if you've done it, Mm-hmm. So yes, I was a hairstylist for many years. And yes, I owned 3 salons in Seattle for 10 years. And they were commission-based salons. I trained my own people. I had 75 employees all the time. People bought my own salons from me on a succession plan using the Summit, which is, the Michael Cole systems. Yes. So I did all of that as well. Yeah, I've been art director for companies like Enjoy and Puroji and FHI Hit. I've been on the stage. I've done the hair for the Oscars. I've done the hair for the Emmys. I decided to become a distributor and run a distribution here in Texas. And then I started my own brand of products called 1821. So yes, I've done all of that. So now when I speak, I'm talking about something that I've done. So as part of me becoming a owner of a company of men's grooming after I done women's all my life, I went back to school 3 years ago and I got my crossover license as a barber. So I went to a school to have somebody teaching me when I already charging $300 a haircut, a men's haircut, how to cut hair for men, so I could pass my license. So when I'm saying about this, is education, continuing education is the path to success. But it's very important to be taught by someone that he knows what he's doing. Now, the problem right now is, like you say, is no salons to get education. So first thing, if you want to find a good place, first find a good school. Yeah. It's like, for example, it's a good people point school, it's a good Summit school, it's another good independent school like the Fisher School. It's good schools there. Find the best schools, some good Paul Mitchell schools. There's a lot of good schools out there. You just gotta find which one is the best. Second, when you go there, you gotta go kill it. By mean kill it, you gotta do 3 things. You gotta be always on time, meaning you're 15 minutes earlier than anybody else, because that's the person I want to hire. Second, you have to be teachable, because Okay, so like I said, number one is being on time, because if you're not on time, you're never going to get hired by somebody like me. And that's the first thing I ask in the instructor: is this person always on time? The second thing is going to be important: are you teachable? Because if you're not teachable, you know, you think you know it all, then I'm just not going to be able to pass on all the good information I have, and I'll find somebody that is like that. And third thing is very important: is can you build your clientele? So were you able to get enough clients to see you, and were you able to make the sales? Are you good at retailing? That's but your career doesn't start when you get out of the school and go to the salon. Your career starts at the school. That's where you build your reputation. That's where you build your skills. So you can go into a salon and then really learn from somebody else, learn to break the rules and all the things that you can do after that. So critical to be successful at school. And then after that, you got to find that salon. But don't find the salon that you want to work in when you're done with the school. You find the salon on your second or third month on the school when you know what you need. And then you just already built a relationship by going there, maybe on a day that you have off on Saturday, to help them out or whatever. You just go there to sweep their hair, to do whatever you have to do. You don't get to be an educator for anybody if you don't sweep the hair. You don't get to be on a stage if you don't clean the hair. You know, you got to do those things to get to those opportunities. But you have to learn, and this is my last point, you have to learn things from the right people. And I jumped to myself into become a YouTuber and start a YouTube career about 2 or 3 months ago. Why I did that? Because I felt like people like my age, and I'm 50 years old right now, or older, the people who's done here for a long time and done all these things that we done, we're not doing YouTube. And now some younger person that is done here for 2 months, and I'm sorry to say this, or 2 years, and they haven't done the things, and because they're comfortable on the camera, and they feel comfortable just going in there, they're just telling people how to do things. And people are watching because that's what the youth is doing right now. They are watching the information. They are getting the information through YouTube, which is okay. It's a great place to get it. But if you're not getting it from the right people, are you really progressing?
Yes, because I love that. You know,
you're just wasting your time, or you're wasting time that is not productive. You can, it takes 2 seconds to walk from here there, but I can go around the planet and it's going to take me years to get to the same place.
And kudos to you for starting that YouTube channel, because you're right. That is not a big market of industry professionals that are your age in your tenureship, you know, and have your experiences that are on YouTube sharing that sort of knowledge. And I think that that's just incredible on so many different levels, because one, you're sharing your knowledge, and two, you're breaking into a scene that people of your seniority don't typically break into, which is amazing.
It just takes a lot of learning, but again, it doesn't I can know ADD, you know, it's one of like most of the hairdressers, there is the fly, and we're like, okay, there is the fly. But, you know, so I gotta move from one thing to the next. And yes, I've been successful in everything that I've done. And I'm trying this YouTube like I knew. So yeah, you do watch the YouTube, so maybe not so great, or they might be getting better, I don't know. But you know, it's learning, but it takes a lot of effort. I mean, I'm doing 16 hours a day, 18 hours a day, every single day. And I sold the business. I still the manager, director, 1821. I sold the business at, you know, last year. People, when they sell their business and they make the money, they just don't keep working. I keep doing this because I want to pass what I have to the people because I got it from other people. I want to be able to pass it to other people. So I'm trying to figure out what's the best way to reach people. My channel is called Angel del Solar, Sharing the Traveler Road. So basically sharing that path that I already have and the people I met on the path and all that. That's what I'm trying to do anyhow.
You know what? And you can tell that's what you're doing. One thing I want to touch on, just talking to you, the other conversations that we had, and this one right now, that you have this path of excellence, you know, and I feel like that's something that resonates with me on a really deep level in so many ways, because it took me a long time to get through beauty school. It took me 4 years. You know, there was life that happened, a lot of other things that really held me back, but I kept going. And during that time, I did exactly what you said. I kept showing up at the best salon in Denver. I kept showing up. I would stop by, I would say hello, I would see what they were doing. When I was in school, I would drop by probably like once a month. And then the closer I got to graduation, I actually started going in more and more often. And I essentially sold myself that career, you know, and it led me to being able to be the Denver Nuggets dancers head designer. Same thing with the Denver Broncos. I got to do all of their extensions. You know, I was doing a lot of the cable network shows in Denver, and which led me to starting my first school. And because of exactly what you're just saying, which is that path of excellence. You know, going to learn from somebody that is the best, that you admire, that you can soak up and absorb their years of experience that took them, you know, 35 years to learn, and they can condense it for you in a year. You know, and that's what I think a lot of people miss, and probably where a lot of younger people get frustrated going through beauty school. I mean, don't get me wrong, I think beauty school has to evolve. You know, it definitely needs to grow and evolve along with the times and what we're asking of them. But I do think that it is our individual responsibility to find what our own path of excellence is. And it's not going to be the same for everybody. That's what's the best thing about this career. You know, we all get to choose what it is that we want to do. Do we want to be a platform artist? Do we want to work behind a chair? Do we want to be a product owner? And so I think that that's just something throughout your entire career that strongly resonates. And I hope it's resonating with our audience too, that you do want to learn from the best. And when you learn from the best, you really get to absorb that information and start to build your own version of what the best is for you with a collection of experience of people out there. And so I really admire that, that you are staying so true to your path of excellence. And then going back to this YouTube thing, that you're just jumping into the water and being like, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to do it. And I'm going to master this just like I've done everything else.
Yeah, I think it was cool what you were saying about being consistent, you know, because I think that's critical. You know, people are consistent, you know, they're the ones who eventually success. In Spain, my boss, he was travel with me, you know, taking me to a show that I was going to do with him. We're on the car. He said, Angel, all the things that you learn on your life from me. He said, remember, this is like grandma saying in Spain. He said, on the world of the blind, the person with the one eye is the king. But this person is not perfect, but I can see more than anybody else. So it's very critical to be consistent first. Second, don't have fear, because if people who have fear, they don't jump into things. Or people try to do everything perfect before they even can do it. It's better done than perfect. You know, like just jump in and start doing it. And then think and understand that if one thing takes to the next. You cannot be on platform doing hair for the Oscars or on a big show if you haven't worked on a salon. How can good at doing hair and doing extensions, like you say? You cannot do a bride hair until you done the prom. You first do the prom, you get any good at doing a ponytail, and eventually you might get to do a bride. But if you never dive in, you never start. It happened to me with the clippers. No, when the barber movement happened, all the hairdressers or the stylists, we were scared of using the clipper. And we've been telling people for years, no, we use comb over here because it's better, more professional, whatever. You know, the fact is, you know, if you don't grab the clippers, you're never going to do the bald fade because you're scared.
Are you in my head right now? Did you know that about me? Did you know that I'm terrified of clippers?
It does happen to people. But, you know, so when I create my education, because I understand all that, no? So when I did education for 1821, when we teach those two things. We teach the barbers how to do medium to long hair because they are scared of it and they don't know how to do it. Yes. And then we teach cosmetologists how to do the really short haircuts. So I have on my YouTube, I have 2 videos for long hair, 2 videos for short hair. Very technical on a mannequin head. Grab your own mannequin head and just step by step. Step 1, step 2, cutting the hair, blow dry the hair, test dry the hair. Very unique cutting techniques using deconstruction. It's condensed, it's free form, it's French method, it's precision cutting. It's all of it because I learned all of those and I taught all of those. So I'm just putting together the best path to get to. I tell people, if you can cut the hair better than me, faster or cooler looking than me, just tell me how to do it. I'll start teaching that tomorrow. Has to be better, faster, and cooler, because I already done going backwards, okay, and I'm not going back again. So that is very important. So I think if there's anything else to say, I think it's a big secret as well too, and I think people is going to connect to this. I want the youth to look at this, and anybody who really wants to learn. If you ever approach someone that you think has what you want, like meaning they're already doing what you want, and you think they have the skill, just go talk to them, because people. They are really good. Most people have good nature. People in the beauty industry, we're givers. We're like mega givers. We're the people who like to take care of people. So if anybody comes and approach me or approach someone that is good at whatever they're doing, if you say, I need help, and I see that you know what you're doing, will you mentor me on it? I guarantee you're going to get a yes. And by asking, you put yourself in a position to really have potential, you know, amazing growth. So don't ever, first look out for the person, but don't ever be afraid to ask, because by asking, you'll be opening all the doors that you want. That's how I feel about it.
I think that's so great. You know, I feel like one thing that you said earlier is you can't have fear. And I think it's okay to have fear. I think that what you're talking about, though, is that your courage has to be bigger than your fear, you know? And so you have to have enough courage to fail and to, quite honestly, be bad at something in the beginning, because nobody comes out just knowing exactly how to have all of these techniques and skills. And it's really about being okay with being really bad in the beginning and just getting better.
Yeah, well, fail is part of the process. I always tell people, if you need a second opinion, just give me a call, because I almost likely already made it successful or made the mistake. Because you know, you do 80% of the time, you make mistakes to get the 10% or 20%. But you have to be very creative. I was yesterday the Professional Video Association, which I suggest all of you guys who are watching this video become members of the association. They have a meeting they call the Summit. There is very small group of people, like 200 people. We always go to Arizona. It's the top people from the video industry. You know, all the people that you think they are someone, not just the stylists, but the big owners. You know, everybody. You know, so yesterday they have a really good speaker that was talking about to be a creator and just continue creating. And what we're talking about free, and that's no, you just gotta be. These days you gotta be wild on the thinking. You gotta be thinking about the next big thing, and you gotta be recreating yourself. Actually, they sent me the book. I don't even know what I did with it. I have a book from them. It was like, I'm like very pumped about actually going to be sharing. I do like this, like Instagram lives on Tuesdays at 8:00 on the night, when I have like this mini conversation for like 15 minutes that I just talk about some topic, and I just give people a couple of personal ideas. And I'll be talking, not this week, but the next week I'm going to be talking about that. By the way, they are all on Instagram, on the IGTV. So you can just, I've been doing this for like 15 weeks. You know, after I thought, okay, nobody's going back to work, I'll just better, communicate with people, give them some good insights. I'll start doing those. So I'll continue doing that, but I'll be talking about that. And you're right. Fear, it shouldn't be as bigger as you want to try, but then never forget that failure is part of the learning.
Yeah.
And
you
so
don't grow.
What is it for you, Angel? Because you've been tapping into YouTube and Instagram Live, and you're in Handsome app, and you're doing all of these different things. What is it for you you're getting out of it? Is it fulfilling? Like, do you get some sort of fulfillment out of the mentorship, the community, the connection,
Well, I just started 2.5 months ago. So, if you go to my YouTube, it's like what, 350 people now, subscribers. So it's a small channel.
That's great.
I'm very interested in the community, and biggest part. I mean, I'm glad that I connect with you guys, because I think this is going to be a better platform for me to contact, make friends and be part of the community than even Facebook is, because Facebook is so controlled and managed, and it's not just our people there, no? So I'm glad to have this opportunity to grow my community. But when I'm posting these things, the good thing is all the things that I do are mostly evergreen, meaning I'm teaching people good skills that it could be taught this year, next year, and in 2 years from now. So that's why I like YouTube, because it's something you post there. And if people are searching for it, or they know you and they know your content, they can just always come and look at it, and it's free, no? So I think, it will be a tragedy that someone that he has done as much as I done, not being able to pass it. So I'm taking the time to put it in paper, to put it on video, and hope that, somebody benefits from that. And I only hope that somebody, 3 years from now, which I get those all the time, because I've been doing classes for 20 years. So I've been in so many salons in this country and in other parts of the world. The fact is, I get people saying, I want to hear from people. That message that you gave me, that one thing that you say, it made a difference on my career. That just like pays off for me. Anytime I get one of those, it's like, okay, wow, that was my day then, no? Because I financially already done what I had to do with my life. Right now, it's just mostly about passing it on to people and supporting other people's careers as well.
I love that. I think that that's such a fun place to be in your career, when you can really just be able to give back and help people achieve their dreams and their goals. So for all of our listeners out there, you are very active in the community. You're on Handsome app. So we're going to be doing an Ask Me Anything with you here in the next few weeks. Where are some other places that our listeners can follow you and really tap into your expertise?
Yeah, well, this is how I done. I think the best content from you, you're going to get it always on YouTube, because it's just video, no? And then you get the content. Mostly I use my Instagram for those kind of experimental conversations. I would love to hear from people on Instagram when I do those videos. If they ask me a question or anybody who reach out and they really, I'm interested in creating the content that people want. So
Yeah.
I'm just doing things that I think they would be interesting, but I would prefer that people tell me, this will be genius. So I have a couple of people who are becoming a super fans now on YouTube, and they're telling me, hey, like one of them just told me, you should talk about, doing the crossover program, for example. No? So I would like to hear that because that will help me out to create the right content. So I think on you guys app, I'll have a profile there. I figure out eventually how to do it right, and then just send me a question, and I'll try to cater to that conversation. I'll try to answer some questions. I know it's available on Facebook. I have a Facebook group as well that is only for the beauty industry. Then you can ask questions, related to business. I hope that the community want to, not just my ideas, but everybody else, because it's, I'm just only one person, which I've done only one thing. So I think community is the important thing. So what you guys doing to help out create a community, I think is critical. Because it will help out people to find good answers from people who really, care. So
what is the name of your YouTube channel?
Well, you can just I have a website. It's called angeldelsolar.com, I think it is. But you just Google Angel Del Solar, and you'll see my website. You're going to see my YouTube. And you go to YouTube and you Google Angel Del Solar. And I already, because I have past 200 people, I guess people know where I am now. So it shouldn't be too hard, and I had to have a page. I did create a page for Facebook, Angel Del Solar as well too, because my Instagram, it got past the 5,000, so I couldn't get more people in. So if you're interested on that, is there. But if, like I said, if you go to angeldelsolar.com, it's a website just to basically take you to my videos and all that. I don't sell anything. The only thing I have is a link to Pivot Point for mannequin heads in case you want to do a hands-on class. So you can find some materials, and I don't even make any commission. That's just basically just a way to help people to get the materials. But then you have links to all my socials.
Awesome. Well, we have really, really enjoyed our conversation with you as always. We're super excited to have you part of the Handsome community and just, honestly, to learn from you. That's something that I'm super excited about is I always enjoy learning from other people, especially people who have very extensive and diverse industries in the beauty industry, or diverse skills in the beauty industry. So I know our listeners are going to get a lot from this. I know I already have. And so make sure to follow Angel, everyone. Go to his website, angeldelsolar.com, his Facebook, his YouTube, and of course on Handsome. All right. Yeah. Until next time, we will see you later. Thank you so much, Angel.